Our world is dying. The plants are wilting, and our forests are burning. Homes for our animals being destroyed. The oceans and rivers are being polluted to where we can't even swim in them anymore. Worse yet, fish that depend on those bodies of water to live are suffocating. Our forests, the very life source for our oxygen, are being cut down and burned to the ground. And while we may not realize it yet, the animals have. And they have to pay the price. The Industrial Revolution began the attack that would soon be known as the #1 killer of our planet. Today, big tech, factories, and governments are leading that cause. Our air is being polluted by fumes, our oceans being clogged with garbage. While they might not care, we do, and we fight back. One of these ways is through building green roofs, part of a larger plan for green infrastructure, in the hopes that it will lead to a cleaner, more sustainable future.
I wouldn't go that far as long as Hi, my name's Tom McConkie. I'm with Denbow Transport, and I operate in the capacity of being a product development quality control person. Soils have the ability to impact the negative effects of excessive stormwater. Over the millennia, stormwater is naturally filtered into the soil, but as we have more and more hard surfaces in our cities and towns, stormwater does not have a place to go. And the right soil in the right place can be used to mitigate the impacts of stormwater management. For example, storm surges or large rainfall events can be absorbed and used by plant material and slowed down before it hits the storm sewer system.
But how do we take pieces of scrap wood and other natural resources and combine them into premium soil in a way that is both cost-effective and eco-friendly? I met with Michelle, Vice President of Denbow, to tell me about the soil-making process and how they focus on those two areas in their work.
As a company, we open ourselves up to receiving green waste. So we have a lot of haulers that will bring in their tree clippings from multiple different places, including and mostly land development. Starts as a green waste product. We grind it through a 4-inch land clear screen, and that brings it down to a manageable size where we stack it into windrows. And right there is what you'll see as the second stage. It was ground, the green waste was ground. Second stage is, you can see how coarse it is in that pile, and it'll naturally compost through time. So what we do in the process is we actually turn it. So we take an excavator, we make a new row beside it. It's called windrow turning. And the whole process will actually cause that to continue to compost naturally and break down finer and finer and into a nutritional portion of our soil making process.
The benefits that these soils have on urban living is, one, this is a recycled product made from clean green forest debris, so primarily land clearing. So when land is cleared for any purpose in outside or close to the urban area, that material would need to be dealt with. We certainly don't want it landfilled. It's very usable. We bring it in and compost it into a very solid soil amendment. We need a supply of topsoil, which we do supply by using compost and typically river sand, which is also another product that needs to be taken from our local rivers for navigation and other purposes. Mix those two together and we have a very viable topsoil product. The soil depths actually impact the type of plant material which is put on the roof. The type of plant material and the goals of the green roof itself will also dictate the type of soil used. The clean forest debris has woody material, but it also has a lot of inherent nitrogen. And that we then undertake proper composting procedures to break that down to the point where the compost is a stable material, which then can be mixed with other materials to become a soil. One of the benefits of green roofs is a heat island mitigation. That essentially means, it's a fancy way of saying that the more green you have in your city, the cooler it can be. Cities are known to be appreciably higher temperatures than the surrounding countryside, especially as the climate changes and we get warmer. By having green space, and one green space that we can achieve is by turning otherwise black tar roofs into green roofs. That green and the resulting emitting of oxygen, taking in of CO2, the cooling effects of rainfall being absorbed and also then dissipated back into the atmosphere, all of that has a cooling effect on the surrounding countryside, or in this case, the city itself. We're big on, we have a specific material which we use as the organic matter fraction of the soil. From that, as you've heard, we had pumice, we had sand. What is really important to take away from this is specific soils for specific uses. So a soil that is used on a green roof is different from what is used for your lawn or your golf course, and what is used is different for what is used for a street tree or for a landscape planting. So they're usually different levels of organic matter content, sometimes structural aggregate, and certainly sand and other outside additives, occasionally manures, but not usually, or peat moss, which is controversial and only used in specific instances. So structural soil for street trees is also one. It uses a compost component, as well as bioswales and rain gardens, which again are stormwater management exercises, which are use the soil as their primary way of functioning, in that they receive moisture in the form of rainfall or runoff, slow down that rainfall, and then have it utilized by both plant material, dissipated through the soil, and then possibly discharged, but at a much lesser rate, into the municipal storm system.
What I want to show you here is this is green waste. This is already breaking down. You can see it by its dark color. So it's a good sign. It's very warm. If you go into the pile, it is hot actually. Yeah. Wow, that means it's cooking. That's what you want to see. And that is actually, I haven't dug into a pile in a while, but whoa, actually almost burning my hand. That's how hot it is. So that's a very good sign when it's cooking. That means it's heating up and breaking down and getting rid of, so through time also the coarseness of it will be decreased. However, this still needs to get screened out. So through our process, we cook it, and when it's ready through testing, we'll know, okay, it's ready to make into a finished soil. We'll run it through our screener, and what happens is all the large pieces get pulled out through the screener, and we're left with the finer. We want to be left with this. This is your finer substance for making a soil. Yeah. So the last thing you want to do is plant a lawn in something with sticks like this, or plant a plow, because this will actually break down and rob nutrition. So you do not, the stickier your product is, the more it will pull actually from your plants and rob them of nutrition. You have to add fertilizer. So that's what happens when you have too much wood. So we have to, when we make our soils, we have to create a fine balance of not having too much wood, or else we're not going to have a healthy soil. And it won't be immediate. It takes time that it'll rob from the nutrition from the plants. So it's something very important for us as we do screen, is that we try to pull as much of the wood out. Now the wood gets reused actually, so it's not a waste. It enters back over here into the next stage of soil making. So it'll continue to break down. We continue to use it, and so the chunkier portions will re-enter and eventually be made into a soil.
With the soil creation process finished, and a new soil consisting of a rich, nutritious blend. How do you take that and turn it into a green roof? The first step is taking it and loading it into specialized trucks. These trucks then leave the compound and make their way to the site. Once arrived, the crew will unload the pipes that are stored inside the truck and lay them out to make sure that they are ready to be connected. These pipes are used to transport the soil from the truck to the roof of the building where the soil will be blown in via the pipes. The next step is for the crew to find a way to bring the pipes to the roof. This is often a tedious process and needs to be done right in order for the project to succeed. For this project, the task is to connect the pipes from the truck all the way up the 7-story building to the roof where the garden will be installed.
This piece through here, and maybe a 20. You'll have to decide that later. You'll have to decide that later.
And so the trek begins. Carrying their gear and equipment with them, the crew climb the 7 flights of stairs to the top, where the real work begins. Once at the top, the crew must figure out a way where they can position themselves and must communicate what their plan is with the other crews working on site. 2 crew members have to sit on the edge of the building and therefore must wear safety gear and connect themselves securely in case of emergencies. 1 man remains on the ground to tie the ropes to the pipes and make sure that they are secure. When he is finished, the crew at the top begin to pull the pipes up, carefully, counting out their strides as to make sure that the pipe stays level with the ground to retain balance. Once the pipe is at the top, someone from the crew unties it and sets it safely aside. This process is repeated until all the necessary pipes are connected, making one long pathway connecting the truck and the roof. Once the crew is done with the final touches, they are given some final instructions for how the operation will continue. The dirt is blown in for a couple reasons. It is cost effective and saves on many man hours. It also allows for the dirt to be more evenly spread in the boxes. This gives it a more natural look and gives the soil a better mix.
Well, I'm Bill Boosterd, and I'm the founder of Denbow. So that's one thing that GreenRoofs help. They take that water, and instead of all rushing into the gutters, there's a slow release. So that's one great benefit of a green roof, and the other one is just healthier air in a city, because you've now got larger footprint with greenscapes. So we know that green gives us fresher air, and so that's a contributor as well as it preserves the roof. The roof actually has a longer lifespan. The sun is not attacking the roof membranes, and so you have a healthier roof as well. So there's a number of benefits in a green roof. Well, the environment is an interesting environment. Is a lot more than just air. I mean, it's people, it's soil, it's air, it's water. People are, of course, a big part of our environment. I mean, if we had an environment without any people in it, that would be pretty unfortunate. So at Denbow, I think one of our responsibilities, and I think Christians in business have an opportunity to come alongside of people, come alongside of our employees primarily, and to allow them to grow, to have an opportunity to become a better version of themselves is one thing that we've been saying. And so that's, I think, an opportunity that we have. And as well, then, I think business is a foundation for ministry or mission, where we as Christians can demonstrate to others what Christ-likeness is like in fair business practices, in fair practices with our employees, including them and building them up and encouraging them and caring for them and treating them like they really do matter, and they do. So business is a whole lot more. I think it's a wonderful way to come alongside of people, and then in our case, an environment as well. So it's multi-purpose, and I think I love the opportunity in business to do that. I think we all have a responsibility to do the best we can and to look for opportunities where we can manage and sustain the environment that we have in a healthy way. So we do a small part. It's just a very small part, but we try and do our part there.